morning, Connect Community Church. Why don't you join me this morning wherever you are and worship the King. Oh, come let us worship our King. Come let us bow at his feet. He has done great things. See what our Savior is doing. See how his love overcomes. He has done great things. He has done great things. Oh, hero of heaven, you conquered the grave. You free every captive and you break every chain, oh God. You have done great things. We dance in your freedom, awake and alive. Oh Jesus, our Savior, your name lifted high, oh God. You have done great things. Yes, you have. You've been faithful through every storm. You'll be faithful forevermore. You have done great things. And I know you will do it again. For your promise is yes and amen. You have done great things. And God, you do great things. Oh, hero of heaven, you conquered the grave. You free every captive and you break every chain, oh God. You have done great things. We dance in your freedom, awake and alive. Oh Jesus, our Savior, your name lifted high, oh God. You have done great things. And hallelujah, God, above it all, and hallelujah, God, unshakable, and hallelujah, you have done great things. You've done great things. Come on, let's lift him up. And hallelujah, God, above it all, and hallelujah, God, unshakable, and hallelujah, you have done great things. You've done great things. Oh, hero of heaven, you conquered the grave. You free every captive and you break every chain, oh God. You have done great things. We dance in your freedom, awake and alive. Oh Jesus, our Savior, your name lifted high, oh God. You have done great things. Yes, you have. You've done great things. Oh, oh, we lift your name on high. You've done great things. You've done great things, oh Jesus. Let's just sing, Here I Am. And here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. And here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God, and you're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. Here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God, and you're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. Here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God, and you're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. Altogether wonderful to me, Jesus. And bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship his holy name, and sing like never before. Oh my soul, I'll worship your holy name. The sun comes up, it's a new day dawning. It's time to sing your song again. Whatever may pass and whatever lies before me, let me be singing when the evening comes. And bless the Lord, oh my soul, and oh my soul. Worship his holy name. Sing like never before. Oh my soul, I'll worship your holy name. You're rich in love and you're slow to anger. Your name is great and your heart is kind. For all your goodness I will keep on singing. 10,000 reasons for my heart to find. Sing, bless the Lord, and bless the Lord, oh my soul, and oh my soul. Worship his holy name, and sing like never before. Oh my soul, I'll worship his holy name. And on that day when my strength is failing, the end draws near and my time has come, and still my soul will sing your praise unending. 10,000 years and then forevermore. And bless the Lord, oh my soul, and oh my soul. I'll worship your holy name, sing like never before. Oh, my soul, I'll worship your holy name. Yes, I will worship your holy name. I'll worship your holy name. Here I am to worship. Here I am to bow down. Here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. God, we thank you so much for what you're doing, Lord. In the midst of everything, God, you still move mountains. You still do miracles, God. We love you so much. I just pray that we would learn something from you this morning, God. Thank you for all you're doing and everything you have done. And we just praise you, we worship you, and we lift high your name, God. In Jesus' name, amen.
Hello, everyone. Excited to come to you today. Connect Community Church Online with a whole different format. Today, we're going to talk about some things, share our heart about a few things that we're going through as we all face the coronavirus, lockdown, and quarantine. And so my name is Pastor Chad, and this is
Pastor Aaron.
We're super excited to come to you today and just offer, hopefully, some joy and some uplifting things to help you as you face the challenges of everyday living. I know that I have faced the challenge of being locked down. I'm an extrovert. Aaron's an extrovert. We are people persons, and we like to be out with people and spend time with people and love on people. And so during this time of just being able to, look at my dog, look out the window, it's been a little challenging.
Spent way too much time with my cat.
Way too much time with our pets.
More time than I wanted to.
Yeah, definitely. And Sasha gets irritated with me, our husky, our white husky. She gets a little irritated with me if I'm in her space too much because she's the queen of the house. And so I've had to share my time, being locked up with her. And so anyway, there's a lot of challenges from being pushed out of our normal routine and not being able to spend time with people. That's having us look inside of ourselves and examine what's really important.
Yep.
I'm a task-oriented person. Yes, I love to spend time with people, but I'm a task-oriented person. I'm a busy person, and I can get stir crazy and get cabin fever probably quicker than most. Aaron, what are some of the challenges of this lockdown and being kind of outside of our normal routine that you're facing in your household at this time?
Eating too much. Eating too much has definitely been an issue. I think we took that first month's worth of groceries that we went out and got, and we literally went through it in a week, because we were sitting home all the time. That's
It's
kind
true.
of a silly challenge, but, and then we're having a son home from school and, acclimating back to normal life again.
Yeah. Yep. Having some extra people in the house, during the time my daughter came home for a short time from college, and you're right, like eating. Sometimes you're just in the house, there's another box of crackers, there's another bag of chips. Wait, let me have chips with dip. The next thing, the quarantine 15 is set in. Your hair's down to the ground, you're bigger than you've ever been. It's kind of what I'm facing right now.
What is that quarantine 15? Is that kind of like the college 15? Is that what that is when you go to
The
college?
freshman 15?
The freshman
Yes.
15.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Except that goes over 9 months. I've done it in 1
weeks.
calendar month. I've gained 15 pounds,
Right.
literally. And so, we exercise and stuff and haven't been able to go to the gym because they're all shut down. So, we're going to have
But
real...
you did something really cool. You did something really interesting, creative. Like you couldn't go play ball anymore on Monday nights. So what did you do?
I put a hoop up in my driveway. Playing by myself, I guess, is better than not playing at all.
Yeah, I'm not a ball player.
But it's not enough. As opposed to playing full court basketball, it's not enough. And so, my uneasiness, my stir craziness has had me eating a little bit more than I'm used to. And I know we're all having to deal with certain things during this quarantine, during the lockdown, that's making us look at what's important to us. We're spending more time with family, which I think is great. When it comes to our own personal contentedness, I think it's important that we value relationships.
Absolutely.
And so, Aaron, you've probably had more time to spend with the family, having your son home. Tell me a little bit about that. That's been something that's been valuable during this
It's
time.
been interesting, you know. I think our mindset and how we look at it, you know, it's not like we have to be careful how we're looking at our situation. You know, are we stuck at home, or are we?
Right.
Do we get to be with our family? Do we get to spend more quality time with those that we wouldn't be able to spend time with, you know, normally? We have extra time together, and I guess, you know, how we choose to talk about it and think about it, process it in our brain, we get to spend more time together. We have more time together, opposed to saying all the time, we're stuck in the house, we're stuck with my kids, I'm stuck with my husband, I'm stuck with my wife. You know, I think just our mindset on how we process that in here makes a big difference on you know, how we deal with it all.
Yeah, I can imagine some of you that are listening right now are saying to yourself, well, Pastor Chad, you don't know about the people in my house, and you don't know about the people over time of all my kids in my house and how crazy it is. You know, I'm all set with spending this much time with them. You know, I get that. I understand that. You know, if you're a family with young children, I'm sure it gets a little chaotic sometimes. I totally can sympathize with you and understand what you're going through.
How many of you had in your house at one time in the past? You've had
past?
You've had people stay with you over the years.
I think 8 or something at the most.
Living with you.
I've had 36 people living with me. My whole entire marriage, I've had 36 people. We love having people. That's just my personality. Now, you know, it's Patty and I and Sasha. Love being with my wife, Sasha. You know, sometimes it's a little, you know, marginal for her, but no, I love my dog. But you know, I think a lot of you are saying to yourselves, well, if you were in my household with everything that's going on, me having to be a homeschool teacher, my kids being young, you'd be like, okay, I value it, but man, I need a break. Can I say something to you? This is going to be over soon. This whole thing with the coronavirus is going to be over soon, and we're going to get back to our regular lives. And I guarantee you, every one of us are going to look back on this time and say, you know, it was challenging. Sometimes it was really hard, but there's going to be certain aspects of it that we're going to cherish, actually, because life just stopped. And we're able to spend time, we're able to value our time spent with one another. I can guarantee you that's going to happen.
Maybe even some people will regret not valuing the time that they had and making better use of it. You know, you get to be together, husband and wife, maybe more time than you normally get to spend together. I know there's a lot of people who complain, my husband works all the time, we're on different schedules, you know, there's a lot of that stuff that happens, you know, and I don't get to, we talked to somebody the other day that a mom that hadn't spent time with her kids because she started a new job and the kids were going to school and doing their thing, and so she kind of gotten out of touch a little bit with her kids, but now she's back and able to spend more time with her kids, and she's learning things about her kids that she never realized and probably wouldn't have realized had she not had this opportunity to spend with her kids.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, yeah, life has changed and life has shifted for the moment, but I think, you know, valuing this time and not having regrets at the end of it, because we've had situations in our life over the last few weeks that have made us really reflect on, you know, how we've done things in the past and how much time we've spent with people. And, you know, you don't want to have regrets. So, you know, that contentment with taking, you know, stock of this time and doing important things now while you can, making good use of your time is important, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And just passing time is another thing. You know, we find out really how much time we have when we're not so busy.
Yep.
And it's like, okay, what do I choose to actually spend my time on? Is it with the people, or am I into a project, or what am I doing? And one of the things that we've done just to pass time is play games. And I've seen all over the internet people putting puzzles together, people playing board games.
Yeah.
And I'll just tell you, I like winning. But I don't know if it's something God's trying to teach me right now, but in the beginning of this lockdown time, the girls were just laying waste to me in cards. I was getting beat every night. And I'll tell you, that has made this quarantine really tough.
Yeah, we have a rule in our house. We play Uno a lot in our house, and some of you out there have been to our house and played Uno with us, and it gets a little interesting during our Uno games. And there's a rule that at the end of Uno, we're all friends. But whatever happens during Uno is up in the air. So we try to keep it, on a certain level. But we have to have an agreement that after Uno, we're all friends, because there's some pretty heated games that go on there at my house.
Yeah. Forgiveness is an important part of the Christian life. You got to be able to forgive, man.
You have to be content that you're maybe
Losing.
not a winner.
Yeah,
Yes, if I can
that's
put it
what
that-
I'm working on.
Or that you
You
are.
want
a
to
winner.
pray for your
Yeah.
pastor, pray for my contentment with losing. It's
Yeah.
just never going to happen, I think. But anyway, as we have to face ourselves, and that's what this is about. Like, we're having to deal with our own personal feelings of being maybe alone a little bit more, not being so busy. We have to listen to the sound of our own voice, and some of us don't like that. It really displays the level of contentment we have in our life. And we as Christians, outside of the people around us, the house that we've been brought up in, or the house that we're having to lead, we have the Lord, and the Lord can help us be content in any situation. You can find peace even in the crazy chaos that may be called your household. You can find peace in your heart, because when it comes right down to it, contentment isn't what's happening on the outside of you, it's what's happening on the inside.
Yeah.
And we have an endless reservoir of peace in Jesus Christ. So I just want to encourage people that I know are like slugging it out in the everydayness of life, with dealing with this situation, being pushed out of normal routine, and maybe having to deal with a lot of family and a lot of things happening inside the four walls of your house. There is contentment that you can grab, that you can grasp right now, and it's found in the peace that Jesus Christ can give you in your heart, And so I've had to do that. I've even had to do that, not trying to worry about what's happening at the church, trying to make sure everything's taken care of at home. At first I was worrying like, whoa, if we don't have church for a month, what's going to happen? And then I started to give it to God and started to try to get my peace back and try to get some contentment.
You got to look for the good. You got to look for the good in this.
Yes,
You got to look
definitely.
for the positives that can come out of this, or that could come out of this, and be expecting of good things and positive things and
Definitely.
happy things. And I think if we're looking for those things, and not just camping out on the negatives and camping out on all the things that
Definitely.
could go wrong or going wrong, that might have gone wrong, but yet look towards the future and say, hey, what good can come out of this? I know as a church we've discovered a lot of cool things that that can come out of this, and how we can grow and become better and stay better connected. And we've learned a lot as a church and as a team here through all this. So there's
true.
been some good things.
Definitely true. We've been pushed, and we're going to be a better church on the other side of this. We're going to be a better staff because of the things that we've been having to do during this season. And that's a perfect segue about being positive into our next section. Right now, Chelsea's coming to share an announcement with you. We'll be right back.
Good morning and welcome to Connect Community Church Online. We're so glad that you chose to join us today. If this is your first time listening in, we're so glad you're here and invite you to text the word welcome to 603-346-4579 for more information. All right, let's get back to Pastor Chad for more on today's message.
Well, welcome back to Connect Community Church Online. We're going to discuss another topic that is really relevant to where we're at right now with this whole coronavirus situation, and that is keeping a positive mindset. I was talking to a pastor leader, Aaron, and he was telling me about a story of a church who was really pressed and challenged with this whole situation, not having online church, not posting their sermons or messages, or even having online giving.
Yeah. There's a lot of
Been given an opportunity, though, through this, that they were able to really affect their community in a major way. The city officials, the police department, didn't have a way to handle a particular problem, and a small town, in rural northern New England, and the city actually came to the church and asked for their help. And I believe that this time is so important, it's so crucial for the church to avail itself to any kind of opportunity to try to do something positive. Folks, we've all been on social media. We all see just the amazing amount of negativity that's going on right now. And I think it's very important to keep our eyes open and look for opportunities in our individual lives to grow, to make things positive, to be a positive influence. And Aaron, I know that we at the church have had to learn some new things and grow in a very short period of time in some areas for us to be able to even put church online to the level that we're doing it now. And so speak maybe a little bit to that, of some of the things, positive things that are happening in your own life.
Right. Even for myself, as a church and personally, I've never been super technical with things like this. I've always relied on the help of people, and right now we can't have a lot of people in helping us with different things. So we're having to rely on, just what we're able to do, and our skills, and being able to learn things on the fly. So like I said, I'm not a technical person, but I've had to, get comfortable with even sitting here in front of a camera, because those are things that I just don't do. I'm an old guy. It's not something I'm comfortable with, sitting in front of a camera all the time. So I've had to learn to do that, learn how to put videos out, post videos, to stay in, putting out positive messages and encouragement to our youth students and to different people in the church. And so that's been a challenge for me, but it's been a good thing, because I think going forward, I'm going to be able to use those things to help better stay connected, help continue to keep messages out there, when people can't get to church or can't get to youth group. Those are things that we can use to our benefit, and it's just helped me to get out there a little bit more and to be able to do some things that I just wasn't used to doing.
Sure.
One of the things that I heard of recently too, you were talking about a church and what they were doing, but there was another church locally in the area, and I've heard of a few other churches that have done this throughout the United States, but they literally opened up their church to some smaller churches around, because they were set up to do all this recording and audio, video, and all that stuff, because they were set up really well, because that's a key part of what they do all the time. And so they actually invited other churches that didn't have the resources and didn't have the means to do that, to come in and use their space to be able to record, or even to help teach them and show them what to do so they could take it back to their church. So there's been a lot of really cool things, people coming together and working together to make a positive out of a, maybe kind of a bummer situation, or kind of a tough situation.
Yeah, I love that. I love that these churches kind of opened up their facility to try to help these other churches that literally have no idea, or didn't even venture into those arenas. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
For us, I love it, because I feel like our online presence is going to get a lot better after this.
Yeah.
We've known we've needed to invest in that at a different level. It was in our mind, but this situation has really kind of pushed us into it, all the way. And so we're looking at things and saying, how can we be better? And we're actually, all of us, doing things that we didn't do 4 weeks ago. That weren't
things that
a
were
part
uncomfortable.
things that were not part of our schedule and or part of our life. And I know for me, helping our church be broken down into smaller groups, even if it's through a Zoom meeting, and it's not like that's some kind of novel idea, but now I see a lot more value in it, and I also understand that a lot more people have used it, so they're going to be more comfortable with it, and I just see that as a tool and an opportunity going forward. But when it comes to just being positive, when you're going through something negative, it can be so hard when negativity is all around you to stay positive. Philippians 2:5 says this, "Let this mind be in you, which was in Christ Jesus." Another version of it says, "Let this attitude be in you that was in Christ Jesus." It really matters how we respond and react when we go through troubles, Christian. It really, really matters. I mean, we have a choice to make. Are we going to focus on the promises of God and God's protective hand, or are we going to focus on the problems and all the negativity? I can tell you, Aaron, I've been tempted. I've been tempted to get on Facebook and correct, if I could just say it that way, some well-meaning brothers and sisters. I haven't been tempted in a long time to get involved in some conversations, but I have been tempted.
Yeah.
Thank God he makes a way of escape for our temptation, because I'm telling you, I wanted to say, listen, man, please just don't be that.
Definitely.
Don't be negative.
Well, it's we need to remember, and I posted a video to the youth back a while ago when this all first started, and it's just something simple and something we've heard over and over and over throughout our lives if we've been Christians for any amount of time, been in church, and that's that his ways are higher than our ways, and his thoughts are higher than our thoughts, and I keep saying that over and over, and I keep using it over and over lately, but it's really true, because we've faced challenges in our marriage and in our family and just throughout our lifetime. Even over the last few weeks, we've had some challenges in our own family that have been really tough to navigate through. And the one thing I tell my kids, I tell my wife, we may not understand why something's happening. We may not understand, why God allows things or doesn't allow things. But, we just have to have that faith and that trust in knowing that his ways are higher than our ways. He knows what he's doing. He's completely in control. He knows the end game of all this. And when we're trying to stay positive, you can stay positive by realizing that God's ultimately in control and he knows what he's doing. And sometimes some of the trials and some of the things that we go through, I mean, you look at what James says, to consider it pure joy when we face many trials of many kinds. Yeah. And it's very interesting to reflect on those things in times like this, and we have to remind ourselves, and that's why it's so important to have God's word in us and to be reminded of these things and to be surrounded by like-minded people that are going to keep us encouraged so that we can stay up and stay positive and remember that God's ultimately in control, and we may not get it, but he knows what he's doing.
That's right. So if you're out there struggling, it's like, man, I tell you what, negativity has taken over my mind and heart. Don't feel alone. It happens to all of us at certain times in our life. It may be time for you to get around somebody that you just know is an uplifter and an encourager, someone that's going to pray with you. Sometimes that's all we need, that little nudge to get us back into a good mindset. So as you're out there facing the daily grind of being down in lockdown and being in quarantine, maybe there's a brother or sister out there that comes to mind that you can connect with that can lift your spirits. We're going to go into our next segment, and it's going to be a question and answer segment. And we didn't rehearse any of this, which you're probably saying to yourself, yeah, I can tell. But we didn't rehearse any of this. And so we're going to have some questions asked, and we're going to talk about some answers. And so here's another exciting thing that's going on at Connect Community Church.
Connect Community Church family, thank you for continuing to remain faithful to give during this time. I invite you to give today. You can do that by clicking on the link attached to this video in both the Facebook and email platform. You can also visit our website at myc3.tv. All right, well guys, be blessed, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
All right, welcome back to Connect Community Church Online. Well, in this segment, we're going to discuss and talk about a few questions that people may be asking at this time or that we found interesting. This is unrehearsed, so let's see what happens. So, Aaron, what are some of the questions that you guys came up with?
Okay, so here's some of the things that people are asking right now that we've heard people ask. So I'm going to ask you and see what you come up with for some answers.
Sure.
So right now, families are finding themselves together at home a lot more than normal. How can we use that time and make the most of that time with our families?
I hate to make it this simple, but I'll just make it that simple. And it is this. I feel like just talking, conversing. In today's age where we're on our mobile devices, we're on social media, we're watching a show, we're on our phone at the same time. Man, I tell you, and I'm not getting on to anybody, I do the same thing. It can be very distracting. And now that we're in this pause and things aren't really happening for us the way that they normally would, just taking a moment and actually having conversation with people. I know that sounds crazy, but I honestly feel like it's something that we all need to avail ourselves to and practice during this time and carry on out of this time. So, yeah, I would just say, let's just sit down and have a great conversation
Yeah.
with the people of our family.
So what do you think about having separation time? Do you think separation time is healthy in a time like this? Maybe we spend so much time together, and maybe having some time where we go and maybe do our own thing for a little bit and setting time aside for ourselves to maybe read or maybe even allow ourselves some time to watch something or read our Bible or maybe do a devotion on our own.
Yeah, definitely. When you first said separation, I said I'm not for separation in any way, shape, or form.
No, I don't mean
Not married couples ever being separated. No. Yeah, I think, I'm all for solitude. I'm a social guy. I get out and I want to be amongst people. When I go to the mall, I want to go where there's so many people I can hardly move. I know a lot of people think I'm crazy. I want to go to the football stadium when it's jam-packed. I want to go to the movie theater when the crowd is all into it and there's a lot of people. But in my life, personally, solace and solitude are huge things. Peace and pulling apart from everything and all the business and people to just get your tanks refilled, to get your emotional reservoirs built back up. So I think separating yourself, and we're forced to do it here in this time, is so important to having the emotional and spiritual reserves to go out and give to people and be someone that focuses on others.
Right.
So yeah.
So another question that came in is so families are at home, parents are homeschooling, parents are working at
Sure.
home.
Yeah.
So they're remote working, remote doing school, doing all these things. It's all new. It's hard for people to shift these things. So how do we navigate and use that time? How do we balance things during that time with work, with family? You've got the people who are working at home and their kids are running in and out of the room while you're trying to work. You've got moms who have been working maybe some full-time jobs and now they're finding themselves homeschooling. How do you find the balance in all that? What do you think?
Yeah, that's super challenging. I'm past the stage in life when I had small children, and I think for those that have small children, this is an acute challenge. I mean, this is something that they're facing every day. I mean, I have more time. I have more free time because my kids are not in my house anymore. But if I had to say one thing, if I had to give one nugget of truth or nugget of information that would help somebody in that scenario, I would say shift your day. And I know a lot of young couples already do this, so again, it's nothing novel. But if you can get up earlier than the kids get up, which is challenging sometimes if you put them to bed so early, and use that time to get your day started, your day organized, which I know a lot of mothers do it the night before. Or the kids go to bed early enough where you've got a little left in the tank to be able to do some things for yourself. Read, rest your mind, plan the next day, be a little productive. You have to shift the day and get it a little bit out of the kids' schedule so that you can have time for yourself. It's so important. Especially in this time when they're not off to school. Wow, I mean, all of a sudden, how do I do this? And I know there's mothers out there who's like, I have 3 kids. I can't be 3 kids' school teacher and be mom and be house, taking care of the house and everything. So I really, really sympathize with the challenges. But if I had to give one nugget, it would be shift your schedule as much as you can, and I know every day is not going to be the same, so that you have some time when the kids are not there, right there with you. So
yeah, one of the things you talk about shifting schedules or moving things around a little bit. One of the things that we did in our family when we started homeschooling, my kids just have a weird, different schedule. They were always in dance, and they were up late at night because we were out to dance very late at night. And so our kids slept in more in the morning, and then we did school. We moved school later in the day. Right. So trying to move those things around to accommodate when it's the best time for your kids to learn, and maybe even for people that are working at home to, if later at night you can get more accomplished because it's quieter. Using that time, moving those schedules around that work for you and work for the people around you, I think can be a good help.
Yeah, and I think it applies very well in what you said to your kids' schedule. I mean, if they're better in the morning, do it in the morning.
Right.
If they're more calm in the afternoon, you know,
In
whatever.
the afternoon, right?
And that, you know, you do have that flexibility. So I
Right.
think those are both good ideas.
So I have a crazy question for you. Here's another one.
All right.
So during this time, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have gotten some honey-do lists. Like I was somewhere yesterday and I heard a lady saying that you know, her husband had moved to a different project and it was taking away from her time to be able to work on the kitchen, and because they're redoing their kitchen right now, they're using that time to redo their kitchen. But you know, I'm wondering if maybe in your life with everything right now, have you maybe told your wife that Home Depot is not as a non-essential business and that they're closed right now to get out of doing a honey-do list?
No, I have never said that. But I'm sure guys that are watching this now will take that as a great idea.
I think it's a great idea. You know, so those of you that haven't done that yet, you know, it's kind of an interesting approach. And Home Depot is a non-essential business, so
I can't go out and get the lumber to do the job.
Can't do the paint. Can't do anything. So
Well, I'm such a
sorry.
mechanical wizard that it wouldn't really matter if it was a non-essential
I know some
business
people
or not.
Yeah, some people enjoy doing, you know, the stuff around the house to stay busy. So that's actually important for a lot of people. I know a lot of people are doing home projects, but for those of you that are out there that are trying to get out of them, or maybe you have too many projects, maybe that's a good strategy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good line. It's a lie, but it's a good line. So,
All right. So another question. So here's one that came in that someone had asked. I've been spending a lot of time watching Netflix and Hulu and binge watching things.
Ooh, yeah, I bet.
Although I'm entertained with the things that I'm watching, I don't feel fulfilled.
yeah. Okay.
So what are some things I can do to feel more fulfilled? And you know, can you
Yeah.
answer that one.
Yeah, so let me just say, by matter of my conviction about just doing things that don't take any brain activity, you weren't meant to be like that.
Right.
You know, to kind of go on autopilot. Hey, I'm the first one that enjoys watching sports or whatever and not having to use my mind. I get that. But man, after a certain amount of time, you were meant to be productive. And I think if you watch
Right.
something 10, 12 hours a day for 4 days straight, you're going to think, man, dude, I feel like a slug, or I feel unproductive, or what did I just do? And so you were meant to use that brain. I mean, it is like a muscle. You've got to use it or lose it. I don't know if that's true, but you know, I think if we don't exercise and use our brain and engage in thinking and being productive, we'll start to feel like, wow, you know, I don't feel like I'm doing what I should. So
I mean, it works for your body, right? If you don't do anything for a little while, and then you try to go out and do something physical, your body feels like really sluggish and feels weak. And so I would imagine it would work the same way with your brain.
yeah, I mean, I totally think it does. I mean, you got to exercise this muscle of your brain, and
Right.
if you're just on autopilot for 4 days and watching things, I think the mind muscle gets a little weak.
There's probably a lot of conviction going on right now. People have binge watched. I got to say, I've probably binge watched a lot of things. You know, myself, I'm guilty. I'm guilty. Sometimes it's my go-to. So
Yeah.
I have to be careful. But then I catch myself and I go back and try to start feeding myself something, because it's easy to get caught in that trap.
I'll tell you, the lack of physical activity, again, I play basketball every week, that I haven't had. I went out and did some things. We helped somebody move during this time that really needed it, and I was a hurting unit.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if my muscles atrophied and my cardiovascular health went down, but it felt like it did.
Yeah.
I mean, I literally was hurting.
Yeah.
And I know I'm older now, but still, it's a great example.
Yeah.
Like, I
I
think
split
the
wood
mind.
this week.
You split wood.
I split wood.
Yeah, see
It
there.
wasn't a lot, but it felt like it
If
was
you-
like a
yeah.
whole forest when I
If-
got done. 10 pieces, and I think it felt like a whole forest. I think I cut a whole forest.
I cut the Amazon forest down this week. Yeah, I mean, I think it's exactly the same. You know, I think our brains just being on autopilot for 4 days straight watching a show, you're going to feel a little, I
Right.
think, after that,
Yep.
just to be totally honest.
Okay, so another question. So here's a weird question.
Yeah,
Just
sure.
kind of a strange one. So what? Maybe right now you're conserving time, energy, food, electricity. You know, what has been the strangest thing that maybe you've done to conserve during this time? Anything that maybe you've conserved on, like maybe you're trying to ration food or be a little bit more careful with how you're using electricity or
Toilet paper.
toilet paper.
Probably paper goods.
one,
to be
one
told.
sheet opposed to 2 sheets.
Well, we won't go there. We're not going to say anything right now. I use more paper probably than I should. Like if I'm drying off my hands, I'll pull
Right.
a lot off the paper towel roll, and that's across all paper products for me. So,
Yeah, I'm guilty of
you
that.
know, I guess when you realize that maybe this won't be as available as you think,
Right.
you have to reconfigure in your mind what you actually do.
Yeah, I think it makes people think right now.
Yeah.
Maybe not really conserving, but just realizing, how nice it is to have certain luxuries, and how we take things for granted, and kind of rethinking, some of the
No
things
doubt.
that we take for granted as being necessities, but we look at them as luxuries and we just use them all up. But so maybe people are processing that a little bit differently right now.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I learned a valuable lesson when I was in college. I went to one of my college friends' home during one of the breaks in Pennsylvania, and his entire family, 8 children, was raised by a single mother. And, they have the Amish roots there in that area, and so they were very frugal. And I'll be honest with you, Aaron, I have never really measured out using something in a certain level or a certain measure so that it would last a certain time. I buy it. When I run out of it, I go and get some more. I went to their house and I poured myself a bowl of Raisin Bran. And when I got done, it was up to the top. And I looked around the table and there was 5 sets of eyes on me, because I don't think it was something that they did in their house. When they had something, they didn't think about, okay, when I run out of it, I'm going to go get some more. It was, we need to make this last.
Right.
And in America, man, we are so blessed that we don't normally think like that. Now, there might be some of you out there that think like that. And now all of a sudden, our paper goods, I'm thinking, okay, how many sheets are on this roll? How much am I using? And I don't even think about it. I'll be honest with you. It's probably bad. I don't even think about wasting paper goods. But all of a sudden, it's in my mind now.
Well, I mean, you can't just run to the store without having to stand in line now. So
Yeah.
I mean, that if it's not necessarily to just conserve things, it's you can't just run to the store and pick up a block of cheese if you need a block of cheese, or pick up
Right.
sour cream if you forgot the sour cream when you went grocery shopping. You're
Yeah.
having to make sure your grocery lists are complete and you know what you're going to do, because just to run to the store right now and pick something up is a
Not
little
easy.
bit harder to do,
Yeah.
because you're standing in line with 50 people waiting to get in the door.
Yeah, and think about this thought. In America, we really don't have to worry about running out of stuff. I mean, even if we don't have money for paper goods, you can get them.
Yeah.
And that's just how blessed we are, and all of a sudden we're in this situation where we really have to think about how much we're using. And I think it's probably good for us. It really
Right.
is. And so that's just me. It might be simple and it may be funny, but paper goods. One last thing, man. Let's ask
One last question. It's hard to be isolated from people. Everybody's having to stay home. You got single young adults that are, have apartments alone. You have, families that, get together with other families all the time. But being isolated right now, it's hard being isolated. So, what are some cool ways that we can stay connected?
Well, thank God for modern technology. Honestly, Zoom, FaceTime, all the stuff that the younger crowd is very accustomed to using. We use it probably less than they do, but here all of a sudden, everybody over the age of 40 that isn't quite as accustomed to using it
Right.
is being forced into it a lot more. And it's the world we live in, so I think it's a super big positive. We don't have to be in the same room to connect. We don't even have to be in the same state nor the same country. And that seems kind of crazy, but in this time of forced isolation, man, I encourage everybody to avail yourself to these tools. It's going to change our church a little bit, I believe. Patty was on a Zoom call with people that never had used Zoom before. This was yesterday. And so, man, it was such a positive and good thing. And the ladies weren't sure how to set it up, but all of a sudden now they've got a new tool because they stepped out and did something different. And so during this time of isolation, maybe we wouldn't have taken the time to reach out to a certain facet of our church body. We want to, but maybe time. And here technology is allowing us to really fit it into our schedule and do it from home, connect with one another. So I think, I really do think technology, and it's nothing novel, it's nothing new, but I think it's new for some of us.
Yeah.
And so I think it's going to really give us some
So what do you
great
think
things.
about going old school and like taking some time because you have more time? What about going old school and writing a letter and actually stick it in the mail?
Yeah.
You know, those are some things that we've done. I know my wife has done that, has mailed out some more letters than she's ever done. You know, and one of the things that we're doing as a church is we're reaching out to everybody individually in the church and trying to stay connected to as many people as possible, one-on-one conversations. And to be honest with you, it's been pretty cool for me because, just using that old-fashioned thing, the telephone, to just have a conversation. I mean, I've had probably more conversation with people than I ever would have in church.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
see people all the time in church. We greet them, we say hello, we do the high five on the way by. But I mean, to actually have a conversation with someone, I've had more conversations with people that I've never been able to have a conversation with. And so it's been really neat to just be able to use the telephone as a telephone and just have a meaningful conversation. So
I agree 1,000%. I've heard from people in our church, they're writing letters, they're sending cards to one another. We're making phone calls as a staff, and I can't even tell you, I believe it has so much value and has helped us connect on a different level with our church people and spread it across a greater group of people, a greater number of people. And so some people are a little more extrovert, and they'll come and they'll approach us and they want to be part of our lives. And some people remain on the fringes as our congregation. And this has forced us to reach across the entire breadth of our congregation and do old school connecting, which, again, it just has so much value. So I think that's great. I think it's a great way to end this, too. We just want to thank our church. Thank you, Connect Community Church, and our guests that are joining us online for being with us today. I want to thank our church specifically for your faithfulness in giving. You have been tremendous. I am blown away. Our accountant that works for us, blown away. Pastors have called me and asked us how we're doing. I'm like, our church really hasn't missed much of a beat during this time. And it's a big thank you to God and his work inside of you and your faithfulness. So thank you for that. Aaron, you want to just say goodbye to everybody and say, give your greeting?
Just say thank you to everyone. It's been really awesome to be able to connect with the students, through video. We're doing videos to the students. They're on our youth Facebook page. So if you have a youth, to check that out and get connected through that. But yeah, it's been really awesome having phone calls and conversations with a lot of you out there. And we were really enjoying getting to know you more. As this, and that's a positive, through all this.
Sure
So, building more relationships. So it's been great. It's been good, and that's a positive. I'll leave it on a positive, I guess.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us again, and we will see you next week. God bless.
God bless.